Hello and welcome to an EngView training session. Today I'm going to go over one of the displays, or how to make one of the displays that we saw at the Printing United show. This one right here, you can see a couple different pictures of it. So EngView has over 2,000 resizable packages, structures, displays, and about 500 plus displays. So there's a lot of designs in here that are parametric and resizable. We've also got full parametric CAD, 3D presentation, which 3D is pretty important when you're putting together something like this because you can see if there's any errors in the model before you actually take it to cut. And we've got a full nesting layout optimization. We integrate with Adobe Illustrator. We're easy for putting your graphics on and seeing it in real-time 3D. You can share your models in the cloud so that your customers or your team can see these models without having any special software. But we also work on the Mac and the PC. So let's get started here. I'm going to get out of this slide. If you already have our software, great. If you don't, you can come to our website, click on this 10-day trial button, and somebody like myself will get a hold of you and we'll get you started with the software. So let's jump over into EngView. I've already actually got a model I was playing with here earlier. And when you click on a lot of these different buttons up here, you can see there's a couple of different options. This is our packaging library. We're going to go to our display library. So in our display library, I'm going to go and come down into our corrugated structures, displays. And so like if I click on our counter displays, for example, you'll see just, tons of different options that we can bring in here, resize, nest up, add graphics, that kind of stuff. When we get down to the floor displays, lots of different options for floor displays. We're going to go into the shelf displays. And as you scroll through this too, you can see that there's just lots of different options here that you can basically, bring in design. So let's just start with the one that we had at the show here. And I've got this option I can open up in Package Designer, or I can open it up in Adobe. I like the workflow from Adobe. So I'm going to start here, and you can see we're in Adobe Illustrator right now. I've got my workspace that I've set up. There's an EngView workspace. And if you're used to Adobe, you can see all your tools, everything you're used to seeing. Here's our EngView plugin, which gives the different windows that you see here. But before we get started, we're going to go ahead and just link over to Package Designer real quick. And let's start playing with our model and resizing it. So what's great here is you get a 3D view of what you're getting ready to work with. And let's just start to change it around. So I wanted to lay some brochures on it. And the way it's set up right now, they're laying this direction, but I'd like to lay them deep. So I'm going to go and look at like this shelf length. So let's just go and say, all right, what is our shelf length? And that's really going to be the shorter distance of our brochure. So 8.5, we'll just say 9 inches. And then the width is going to be our long version, so 11. So we'll just make it a little bit bigger. We'll say 12 inches. So that makes that longer. If we go look at the body here, you can see we got this header. I might want that header a little bit taller. So right now it's 4 inches. If I double click on it, you can see it moves. I'm going to make it 6 inches. And then the distance between my shelves here, I might want to say, hey, I'd like to have that 7 inches on that one, and let's make that one 7 inches also. I'd like to radius these corners up here to make it look a little bit nicer. So I got a full set of CAD tools. I'm going to click my radius tool. I've already got 1 inch entered in there. And so I'm going to put a 1 inch radius there and here. And let's go take a look at our base. Let's go look at the parameters. So a normal table height is about 30 inches. Right now we're 20 inches. Let's make this like, 24. Let's go back and look at our 3D design, hit refresh, and you can see, okay, it's all changed. It's a little bit deeper. Maybe we want to see what the overall size is. So I'll click on dimensions. And right here, you can see that, we're 51, almost 51 and a half. There's our width and length. And by the way, when you get in there, if you want to change the font for this or the font size, you can see it a little bit better. You can come in and make those adjustments there. So the other thing I noticed when I was at the show, I would have liked to have had a cutout in the back of this. So maybe I could put some brochures or some business cards or, just some extra stuff that I had, maybe some candy or whatever. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to the base and I want to put a cutout in it. But, this is something that I maybe want to make over and over in different sizes. So I want the cutout to be resizable. If I just draw a regular rectangle in here, it won't be resizable. But if I come from my resizable component library, and let's put a cut and we're going to put a hanging cut, not a hanging, or actually we want a hole, hanging hole. So where's our holes? Hanging hole. I want to get this one that has a nice radiuses on the corner. We'll drag it in here and let's snap it right here and snap it right here. And we get a new set of parameters. And so in our case, this is the HL is the whole length that we want to keep track of. And we're going to call that our whole width. So we'll just give it its own name, HL whole W. And let's go to the next one. And for that, we'll just, for temporarily, we'll put in like 4 inches. Okay, and then on here, this is this HW. Let's uncheck the HW, and we're going to call this our whole height. All right. And same thing. Let's put in some bigger number at the moment just so we can see it easier. And say OK. And then let's just apply these and say OK. All right. So now we've got this hole that you can see cut out here. But we want it to be parametric so we can use some of these other variables like this HSS1 is the kind of the height of the base. We can go back and look at our parameters here, or actually H1 was really that height. So let's come in here and look at this here, and we'll say, all right, our whole height is, let's take H1, and we'll take it minus, I don't know, like 10 inches. And then the distance off the bottom here is, well, that's this this VHO. So let's take VHO and let's just move it 4 inches up, maybe even 3 inches up off the bottom. 3 inches off the bottom. If I double click on that, I can see, okay, yeah, that's this distance that's moving. And then our whole width here, this HW, our whole width, let's just take a look. This panel we're on is LSS1. That's this formula that's coming in here. And so we'll just take that actually, LSS1, and then let's minus 4 on that. So that'll give us a 2-inch border on either side. And then this is the radius right here, or somewhere, yeah, you can see, we zoom in here. This is the radius on the corner. Let's make that like a 1/2 inch. All right, so zoom out, get the whole thing in view. So let's go see what we did to our 3D. Turn it around here, refresh. So we've got a nice little cutout there. And what's really cool about it now, so if I come back to my base and let's make this like 18 inches tall. So it's down shorter. Notice that everything just resized, and so did my entry point. We come back to the base, same thing. Let's move it back to 24. We're a little bit taller. Refresh, and everything's like it should be. So the other thing that we might want to do on us is I've made it out of white material there. So let's go pick a B-flute white and say okay. So now you can see there's our design in white. And if we come up to our initial state and we zoom out a little bit, you can see how this thing starts to come together. And so let's just play through it real quick. We'll go to 3D, and there's our base wrapping together. There's our top wrapping together. These different shelves come in, and you can kind of see how they all come together. Now we can choose and set viewpoints for each one of these along the way if we want. And all that can be in our 3D animation. So, you know, and you can see how the box on the bottom came together, all that. So it's pretty slick. Move out just a little bit. So the other thing we might want to do is, now that we've gotten this far, we might want to nest it up. So let's do a layout. And I am going to choose our display nesting wizard, which is cool because it uses multiple parts. And remember, we got 3 shelves here. So we're going to come in here and let's put some spacing between the parts, like a 1/4 inch. And when we come down to the shelf, let's say we want a delivery quantity of 3 of those. And then here, let's pick a sheet. So in our case, we want to put this on some 4 foot by 8 foot material. And let's just hit next. Let's see what we get. So the nester goes to work, lays everything out the way it thinks is best. We hit finish, and we've got a nest. So now we say, hey, maybe we don't want these parts over here. Maybe we want them over next to this one. So I'm just actually going to just copy this one. So I'm going to come in here, and let's just grab this part, and we'll make a copy. So we'll turn on copy, and let's just grab it and move it over. And so I got a copy there and a copy there. All right. I'll grab these guys over here, highlight them, Control delete them off, and then let's actually take everything, move it up just a hair. We're going to put some fiducials down towards the bottom. So in this case, we're going to go back to move. We don't want to make a copy, and we'll just move it up just a little bit. Okay. All right. Now I'm going to go back to my layout, and I've got a fiducial tool. So we'll make this here. We'll zoom in, and we'll drop a fiducial over here, and maybe one here to start the camera rotation. Come up here, we'll drop a fiducial in, and then maybe we just want one kind of over here. And the same thing, we'll zoom in and drop one right here. So we've kind of done everything that we've needed to do or wanted to do in EngView. So let's pop into Illustrator. So I'm going to just say save, yes. We'll go back into Adobe Illustrator. And so now we can see that there's our design, and here's our different die lines. So I've already got some graphics here. I am not a graphic artist. Every one of you guys that use this stuff is much better than I am. I'm getting better all the time through the practicing like this, but I'm going to paste in our graphics that we have here and kind of move them out of the way. And so let's just kind of start to work on the design. So like the fronts of these shelves, I'm going to drop a little kind of blue on them, a little blue rectangle here. So now you can see we get the shelves are blue in the front. Let's take this over here, and we're going to drop it on the side of our base. So maybe move it up about like so, and then grab this other piece, and we'll move it on the side. Well, see there, it's actually on the other side. So in this case, I might want to put it over here. It's a nice thing about the 3D is I can kind of see exactly where it's going. And then I kind of want to line these up a little bit better. So I'm going to move this over just a hair, and there you go. And then you guys, like I said, that know Illustrator really well and stuff, you can come in and start to tweak all this stuff and get it the right distance off of things, but you get the idea. So we're dropping in there. So now let's do the other side, or actually, you know what? Let's put on the front here first. Let's put our little cool QR code, and we'll drop that maybe right in here, center it up. Okay, so that's got that. People can find us on the web. To me, it looks a little tall. I'm gonna move it down just a little bit. There we go. All right, and then let's work on this other side. So grab this over here, drop it into place, and grab that, and let's move it on here. All right, so, and I think I'm kind of centered up. Let's see how that looks. Yeah, so you can see maybe this one needs to come in just a hair. There we go. All right. So once again, the superpower of having the AI plugin, being able to add your graphics, see how they're all going to look in real time. Let's get our header on there. So we'll grab our nice, cool EngView logo, and it's not there. Nope. You know what? Because the way this folds up, it's actually on the back. So let's take this artboard here, we'll select it, and let's create a new artboard. And we got the rear side now. We'll drop this over here, so now we can see our EngView logo. I'm going to zoom in a little bit and get it nice centered up. So we'll do that. And then let's bring it in just a little bit. So there we go. So you can kind of see that's how it's all coming together there. And yeah, maybe we want to come down just a little bit and center it up. There we go. All right. So we've kind of got everything together there. So this next step is let's put this up in the cloud so our customer can sign off on it. And so we'll say this is give it a name. So EVBROCH brochure stand. And we've got a few different options here. Maybe we want the graphics. 2K is good. We'll upload this up. So this is going to Amazon's cloud web services. And so you get shared space with your subscription. So we've uploaded it. We'll click on the cloud. Takes us to our shared space. And the nice thing about this is, like I said, you can see this in a browser. You can see this wherever. And if you want to be able to play with this in real time, I'll click this QR code. So if you use your smartphone or whatever and you scan that right now, you'll be able to actually see this display on your phone also. But let's just go back to the very beginning, zoom out a little bit. Oops, I didn't want to do that. Yeah, so we can use the regular scroll. When I scroll in and out on the mouse, it moves it like this. If I click and hold the mouse, I can move it left and right. So let's just turn it around and see how that base starts to come together. So we're going to play that. We can see how the base folds, how the top folds, each shelf going in. They fold over. You can see that going in there. Let's look at this one from the side a little bit there. And so you can kind of see how that wraps around, which is nice. So if we zoom out, there we go. There's our final one. Now somebody could say, okay, cool. Let's, what do we want to do? Do we approve the design or we redesign it? What do we want? I mean, I kind of like the design myself, so I'm going to approve it and say, make me, or how about send a quote for 100. All right, hit this. So now I get an email back and I get this nice history here, and I can respond and say, okay, you know, and say, what is your email or whatever. And you're off and running, but you probably already knew their email, but you can put whatever you want up here. So we'll hit send, they get a notification back, and life is good. So let's get back over to Illustrator. And if you remember that we did a minute ago before we came in here is we did a layout. So let's go and let's generate our bleed offset. In this case, I don't think we really have any. We'll hit create the front. Okay, I got to pick my sheet first and say create the front. And so here is our layout that's ready to go, and we can turn on and off. If we stretch this up here just a little bit, like here's our die lines, so we can turn them on and off. And then the same thing, here's our artwork, we can turn them on and off. And so that's the front side of the sheet. Let's go generate the rear side of the sheet. So here's this. So this icon did the front, here's the rear. And same thing, there's your graphic. Your fiducials are at the other side, ready to rotate around. So anyway, that's a quick demo on how, or training session, maybe not so quick, on how to do a display. I appreciate you taking the time, and we hope you enjoying your EngView. Thank you.